NorCal. 209 King of Comedy. It's Rick without the K. James presents, in my opinion, podcast.
Okay. And so I'm switching. I'm going back and forth on things. Another thing I want to talk about real quick.
All right.
Me and you are good friends away from here. Rick James is your stage name. Okay? And so to me, you're Drew. And so it's like a nickname. I've always called you Drew. I remember you as Drew, as I know you as Drew. And in the videos, you'll see sometimes where I call you.
Sometimes, at least once or twice every fucking episode. So Drew, what's your? I'm like, I guess that's me.
And we actually have a bloopers clip on that, which is one of my favorite clips.
Yeah.
And it's really funny, and it's the one with Sabrina and Big Al.
Yeah.
And to me, it's Big Al's favorite, his best part, where he starts singing and tapping at the end or something.
Yeah, because yeah.
But so, and you, I've noticed at one point it was pissing you off, and then you got to the point, oh fuck it, you know.
Well, we'll try to edit it out, but we don't, right? So, you know, the one thing I did want to ask you is only because during the first season, your daughter came and figured, hey, I want to visit grandma just in case COVID might take my grandma away, and she came down, and it got told to her that you were doing this podcast, and I hadn't seen your daughter for 12 years maybe. So, and she's come down from Idaho, Montana, something, right? And,
What's the difference?
You know, the same fucking state, right? But she was surprised that you were doing a podcast. So, has she watched any of the podcasts? And if you say no, you ain't gotta lie, right? Just
to be honest, I don't believe so. But you know, it was a little shock about when we hung out, me, you, and her. I got blasted a little bit from her about raising her and about a few things.
Yeah.
And because the podcast was what brought it up about women and a few things like that and views. I was kind of shocked. I was butthurt a little bit, you know, a couple things she said. But yeah, it was kind of funny. But
no, it was just interesting because I knew you had brought it up. I wanted to know if she's watched the clip because it gives you a different perspective.
No, and
where for me, it hasn't been till the end of this first season that I realized, and I mentioned it in one of the past episodes, is that my kids get to look back when Dad's not away. So hopefully at some point, you know, she does take a look at it because I know whether my kids want to admit it or not, you know, their dad's one of a kind. The time we get into the third season, the fourth season, we're going to look back, and that's why I wanted to do this, right, is to look back and see that growth and be like, man, maybe there's something that we'll revisit and we'll be like, man, my total thinking is totally different than what I thought about Snapchat 4 years ago. Maybe it's the greatest fucking invention and nobody's on there cheating on each other. I don't know. So we'll see.
We've had some really strange questions. I remember one question was, what's good pussy? So I just want to bring this in. So you're asking me, my 30-year-old daughter, has she watched this episode? So I have not actually sat down and told her where to find it. I haven't set her up because I don't necessarily want her to watch this. So you know.
So anybody in Montana or Idaho, since there's only like 8 people in both combined states, if you know a Brittany out there,
and she works at a hospital. There's probably only one hospital in the state. They're gonna hate us, right? So, but anyway, you know, it's like I think of that, and that's what just made me think of. You know, we talked about good pussy and how do you know what good pussy is? How do you sit there and go, sweetheart, I'd like you to watch this episode. Sweetheart, I'd like you to watch the episode where Daddy talks about being part of the Eat a Booty gang. I mean, so no, I haven't shared that part with her. You know, no.
And shit, maybe most of our clips are weird, right? But as you'll see from episode 12 of the first season, we kind of dial down and we get to regular topics sometimes because I realize like we haven't talked about just regular things like what's your favorite TV show or whatever. So we'll get into that and you know, I thought of just regular questions like that because because I feel like as a viewer, when and if you catch on to this podcast, I know the way I watch podcasts, and I'm like, I wonder if Joe Rogan does this or whatever. So I look for those little clips, and that's what I wanted to do with certain clips and episodes, and that's what I'll continue to do with clips and episodes down the line. Is I know that as a viewer, I'm always looking at this show as what do I watch podcasts and want them to share. So, and that's one of the things that I didn't discuss for season 2 is I'm hoping that now that my son's editing and he's getting on his game, is that we can push out things a little faster on the fact that, like I get on Andrew Schultz shit, shout out to him, Flagrant 2, right? And if, the riots in the Capitol happened last week, he's got an episode within 4 or 5 days, tops. He's talking about it, and that's the way, hopefully we can veer this to and just a quick blurb. It doesn't have to be a whole episode, but it can be something quick enough that is bam. Because I know when it happened, I wanted to hear his angle, and sometimes, that's what I hope to do, because we're not gonna fucking, like, I hate watching the news because of that. Like, I want to hear some comical shit. That's why I watch The Daily Show sometimes, is I want it to be a little dumbed down for me. And I don't want it to be so serious, because sometimes the seriousness is just too much nowadays.
Do you have any topics, directions that you're thinking about for next season, and guests? You can kind of talk about all 3 of those.
We're going to have, hopefully we'll have my boy Messy Marv on. Older gentleman, been through trials and tribulations in his life, and now he's working at a prison, doing his thing. Great man that's coming into my life, and I hope to have him on the show. I hope to again just dumb it down a little bit and not be so rated R or X all the time, and just open it up, and to figure out how we could do that a little bit more. I plan to have Jay, the camera guy, the cameraman get him from behind the scenes to in front of him. Would love to have his perspective on certain things. Females, I know I reached out to a teen mom that was shooting out here in Modesto. Would love to have her on if she would like to. Again, Nick and Nate, you're more than welcome to stop by. And one of the other things is, as everything starts to open up, I want to be able to take the cameras and go places.
That'd be nice.
So whether it's your cameras or I buy my own sometime soon, it's just something that I want to get out there and be able to be a little more mobile, because I think one of the major concerns for me was always editing the video. Was always what am I going to do with the material after I have it? So now that portion is there, I'm hoping that my son continues to help with that, and if he doesn't, I know how to do it, but I've got other things to do as an adult, and that's my biggest thing.
It takes a lot of time. People that don't understand, it takes more time to edit to me than the show.
Sometimes it does, and I like to give the example that, the last time my son was editing a video a week or 2 ago, I was cooking breakfast. So the fact by the time I was done with breakfast, he was done with one of the clips, and I was like, you don't understand how helpful that is, because when I don't have that 20 or 30 minutes, and I'm promising people, that's been one of my biggest things this past year.
The thing I really loved about the first season is there was an episode we had where we did a panel. We did, I think it was 4 men and 3 women.
Yeah.
And we actually did the video to where, the first part of a clip was, I believe, men talking, the second part was women, and you might have switched it once or twice. Yeah. But it turned out really nice. Do you have anything planned for something like that, or maybe like play off some of that?
What I would like to do is an older, younger version too. I'd like to have.
We've talked about this. That'd be great.
I'd like to have teenagers on, and then older people talk about like certain things. So I would like to do that. It's always the comparisons, because you think to yourself, like, what did you do as a kid at that age versus what they're doing, and we feel like these kids have it easier. You know what I mean? Like when we wanted to go watch porn, I used to talk about that. I said I used to have to almost get a fucking paper cut sometimes. You know what I mean? Like you tell these kids that boobs were on a page, they're like, well, what are you talking about? I got my phone. I just opened that up, right? So you know, just talk about differences like that. There's so many different topics, and to tell the viewers, we've put it out before, that if you guys are like, man, what I need you to talk about is this, go ahead and comment, man. I try to answer back the comments if I can. If it pops up, sometimes I don't get the notification from YouTube or Google as fast, but we're always open up for new topics if it makes sense, you know. I don't want to discourage anybody from not telling me what they want to see. You guys are the viewers. We're just here to bring the entertainment,
So you talk about you're the viewer. So talk to me about how would you like to start interacting more with the viewers, have the viewers interact more, and do you have a direction you'd like to go as far as like viewers, sponsors, and stuff like that?
Man, Ron, you kind of threw that one to me. As far as sponsors, I want the sponsors to come in and I think the reason I decided to go the YouTube way is because, and I hope this doesn't come out wrong, if not we're going to have to edit this, this is my show. And I want the sponsor to come in and know that we'll put you guys in the background, we'll do all that good stuff, we'll mention, give you the shots out, anything, basically like what Flagrant 2 does, right? Which Andrew Schultz, and he's got over 1.5 million subscribers on his shit. And you know, he just dropped a Netflix because he's grown his platform so big on YouTube that he got a Netflix special. And that's what I want to do, is I want to have ownership of everything going into it. So anybody that sees the shit and like, man, this is who we want to back, I'm more than welcome. If you think you're going to come in, because we've also had some people that have just been on the show that, man, you know what I want to do for the show and my show, and I'm like, but this ain't your show, right? So it's my show. Like, I'm the one paying for the editing. I'm the one doing this, and nothing against anybody, but it's just the fact that I know how much I'm putting into it. So you know, unless you're going to pay both me and Ronnie a salary, motherfuckers, and pay us a goddamn good salary to be like the Breakfast Club or some shit like that, then that's the direction I want for the sponsors. What was the first part of it?
Viewer interaction.
Viewer interaction, we're always, and I've been looking for it since day one, is any viewer that's an influencer, I would love to have you on the show. And I think, you know, I could help you, you could help me, probably more so, right? But, you know, talking about the girl from Teen Mom, that's always been my direction, is I feel like someone like that, if you're an influencer and you don't know how to get the money, let me try to help you, because I feel like I might know more on the back end, because you already have people looking towards you. I don't. Where I feel like if you have enough subscribers or viewers for that, then let's both build on it. Let me do the background work for you, and you just do what you're already doing. Because again, people don't want to do this shit. It's so time consuming. You know what I mean? So I get why you wouldn't want to do that, and I'll help you out. So, you know, shout out to Ashley on Team Mom. If you want to be on the show, I would love to have you on and help you grow what you've already got there. So, because all of this turns into money. We talked about it where, you know, we talked about TikTok the other night, and you was like, but would you get paid? And I was like, yeah. And you're like, fuck, how do I get on TikTok? Because that's where it's at, where I want to just do this for free. Yes, it's fun, right. But, you know, I want to be paid for my fucking time at some point. So, if any viewers can help with that, then more power for them. And if they're funny, because we've talked about it, you had a female down in LA that you were messaging, right? That you said does food reviews or some shit like that.
She does food eating challenges.
So, and we'd love to have somebody like that. Another part of the show that we've discussed is I want to put some cooking maybe into season 2. You know, shoot an episode where we're all just.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but if Christy Mack ever wants to be on the show,
Boy, Charlie Murphy, my main man, Rick James. That's the one you think, the comedian Rick James. Get up.
I can't hear my neighbor crying, I can't breathe.
Please hit the subscribe button down low so you can see all new clips, all new episodes coming to you.